Okay, so here we are in the breeding shed, and all kinds of interesting things are happening. This is Gidget and Rocky, and they are starting to act a little more couplish, which is nice. This is, see that? This is Sprite and his Fluffy. Let's take a look and see how many she's sitting on. This Fluffy is sticking with 4. She's had 4 in there for quite a few days. This is Hardy and Cinnamon, who are still not doing a lot. I think Cinnamon might be having an egg bump, but I'm not 100% sure. She may just be fat. Okay, there is Sky. Oh, look, she's out of her nest. We get a rare chance to see. She is on 4 eggs. There is Sparky. And these guys are the next hatch date. I don't know. Those eggs do not look terribly fertile to me. They all kind of look the same kind of light pinky color. These two, this is Hedwig and Verde, and they are still working on it. There is Razzle. Let's see what Lilith is up to. And Lilith has her first egg. Woohoo! There is Beryl. Let's see if Rainbow's doing anything. He's spending a lot less time in the nest. Uh-huh. We got a first egg. And there is Coco and Kobe, and they are up to 2 eggs. And then we have the baby tower. This is Stratus. And yesterday, Hyacinth hatched out a second baby. A lot smaller than the first one, but they're alive and well. For some reason, Royal and Matilda seem to have stalled out with 1 baby. Those other eggs are just not hatching. This 1 baby is getting huge. Well, she seems to have lost an egg in there somewhere. She used to have 5, but now I see only 4. But they're just not hatching. I don't know what happened. They should have had a second, if not a third by now. And instead they just have 1 gargantuan chick. And the big news is that although I worried that Bubba and Breezy's eggs were all infertile, 3 days after the first one was supposed to hatch, 2 babies hatched. So she must have delayed sitting, or one of the babies was much, much smaller than the other one. So it's possible that one hatched early. So I don't know. Breezy is terrible. She never wants to get off and let me see what's going on here. I can't see a thing. Oh, well, let's sit here for a minute and see if she'll get off, because I just put the corn in there, so maybe she'll get off. But anyway, so that leaves us with, so we actually did have some fertile eggs in there. I'm hoping that little one survived, but if it didn't, it's very possible that there's 3 more eggs left still to hatch. So that's good news. So fertility is looking good. The other couple that I was worried about is these 2, but they're not due to hatch. Their first egg isn't due to hatch for another week, and neither is Fluffy's. The other fertility issue would be Sparky here, who was the first one of the birds treated with medication and the calcium that I suspect is what made everybody infertile last time. He was the first one to rebreed and have a hen start laying again. The others that were treated were Rocky, who's I'm still not sure is ready to start mating yet. Razzle, and these 2, and Sky and Jester. So I'm looking at their eggs now. Everybody's eggs are starting to hatch late. They're 2 to 3 days for all 3 sets of chicks that I've got so far, for the first one being late. So it wouldn't be surprising if these guys were late too, but there's something about the way her eggs look. One of them looks different than all the rest, but 5 of them are kind of, they're too clear, too light. I see a pinkish tinge to them, whereas if they have a reasonable sized chick inside of them by now, they should be dark. So I'm just not sure that we have fertility here. But I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to leave her and see what happens. After all, I thought by looking at Breezy's eggs for the longest time that there was no chicks in there either. And then all of a sudden they all turned dark and started hatching 4 or 5 days later. So we'll see. I'm not going to take her off. I'm going to leave her be and let her figure it out. And the other thing is, one of those eggs is by another pair that I saw breeding and dropped in on these 2, an unintentional breed. So even if they are infertile, one of those eggs may well hatch anyway. They'll end up bringing one baby up that's somebody else's, but they don't know that. So Sparky, you're just a little lard butt. Look at these 2. Hedwig is such a beast. It doesn't really matter how beastly she is about trying to bite me and everything, until we get to the stage where she has chicks old enough to require the nest box being cleaned, and then I really have a fight on my hands, because I have to chase her out of the nest box while she's biting the shit out of me. And then take it off the cage and go change it and put it back on again while she's trying to attack me as well. So it's not a simple task, but you know. Okay, so I see mating behavior over here, which is good. See him stepping on her wing? He's saying, come on, baby, let's do it. And that's good, because I haven't seen that. He's been chirpy and fluffed out and everything, but I hadn't seen any serious mating behavior. So I'm glad it's there now that they have an egg in nest. And Coco, for the very first time, has laid 2 solid eggs without any help from the calcium. She's never done that before. Every time she would always lay eggs that were too soft and they'd break just in the process of being laid. So these 2 eggs are solid, which is very nice. It's Fluffy. Breezy, I want to see if that little baby survived, and you're not helping. Maybe I can kind of push her a little. Okay, Missy. You have to move. I want to see. She says, I don't care if you push me. I'm not moving. Come on, move. Move. Oh, she's going to bite me. Good thing I have my hand covered up. Yeah, no, she's not going to move for me. Well, I'll watch her. She does come out a few times a day to poo and such like that, so I'll watch her and give you the report. The good news is I do not see a dead baby laying in the corners of this nest box. And I hear something cheeping under there. So, and I still see 2 eggshells. The pieces of 2 eggshells, so that means she's still sitting on 3 eggs. So unless she's actually sitting on a dead baby, and she's a first-time mom, so that's possible. Hopefully the littlest one made it. It was funny how they both hatched. It's possible one hatched in the middle of the night and the other one hatched 2 minutes before I got there. But, you know, we'll see. So, that puts us up to Hyacinth has 2. Presumably, Breezy has 2. Royal and Matilda, I don't know why none of those other eggs are hatching. It's kind of weird. But they have 1 giant baby because they're overfeeding it. Now, does that mean it's going to grow up to be a giant bird? Not necessarily. Overfeeding them, making sure they get good nutrition helps in their size to a point, but it's about genetics as to their size potential. You couldn't take Danny DeVito and just feed him a whole bunch when he's a baby and make him come out like Michael Jordan. That doesn't happen. They grow to their maximum extent and then they just get fat. So, oh, look. He's feeding her. Okay. We have a couple here. That's good. All right. I like that. So we are waiting. The next eggs that are due to hatch are, where are they? Sparky and Kelly. Their hatch date was the 21st, and it is the 23rd or 24th. But every single nest has started 2 to 3 days late. And it's entirely possible that she didn't start sitting for a while, so they could come in a week. As long as she keeps sitting on them, I'm leaving them in there. Then the next eggs after that would be in about a week, Fluffy and Sprite, and the very first of Jester and Skies. And we'll see about what that fertility looks like. Now, Fluffy and Sprite did not get treated for anything. They didn't get the extended course of calcium. So hopefully their eggs will be fertile. These guys did, as well as Sparky, so we'll see. Now the other thing is I have Scruffy and Luscious in the kitchen. And Scruffy just got treated with calcium while he was getting his air sac mite treatment. So I'm really interested to see if Sparky and Kelly were fertile, because they started breeding again. She laid the first egg about 2.5 weeks after we broke up the last nest. So Scruffy's looking really interested and bonding with Luscious, and they're carrying on like they'd love a nest box, but I don't want to give them one and have all the eggs be infertile. So I'm really interested to see if Sparky's eggs are infertile. Then I'll wait. If they indeed end up hatching out some chicks, then I may just go ahead and give Luscious and Scruffy a nest box. So, okay, so that's the breeding update. Lots of eggs, lots of babies, and more to come.